friends, Jane here with Ozzie and Deb, and we are going to show you a few more tasks that we're working on. Some really hard ones coming up, so hope you enjoy these.
Hi kids, what we're going to do now is test the dog to see how they are with things that might be scary for a dog. Sights and sounds you might hear in a nursing home or a hospital. So we call this part of the test reaction to new situations. Or we want to distract them also. And what we're looking for, the dog can notice these things. We want him to notice these things. But when Janie asks Ozzie to leave it and to keep moving on with her, we want to see the dog is responsive to their person. Okay, so during this part of the test, I'm going to ask Janie to just walk back and forth in a straight line towards the end of the hall and back, and I'm going to create distractions. I'm going to drop some pans behind Ozzie, I'm going to run past him, and I am going to push a wheelchair past him really fast. We're trying to simulate things that might happen in a hallway when they're bringing dinner to patients. Sometimes people drop stuff, and we hear a loud bang. Sometimes in the hospital, people are running to get to a room for someone who needs help, and then they'll often see patients wheeled around in a wheelchair that's moving quickly beside them. Okay? So Janie, I'm going to ask you to start here, Ozzie, and you can face that direction and have Ozzie sit.
Ozzie, sit.
And as you walk down there, I'm going to bang these pans and drop them.
Ozzie, walk. Walk. Ozzie, walk.
Good, and you can come right on back.
Ozzie, walk. Nice. Good boy. Good boy. Ozzie, walk. Good boy. Boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy.
Good.
Good job. Good job.
Excellent.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
And also during this part of the test, I would also bring in other equipment like a walker and crutches, just so the dog is used to seeing all these different kinds of things. Okay, now we're going to do a really, really important part of the test. I think this is one of the most important part of the test for the safety of the dog. And that is called leave it. So when Janie says leave it to Ozzie, that means whatever he was going to do, he has to stop doing it. So we're going to test him, leave it. I'm going to offer him, sit in the wheelchair, and I'm going to offer him food from my hand. And Janie has to say leave it, and he has to leave it alone. And this is because people in hospitals and nursing homes may offer dogs food to eat and things that aren't good for them to eat. And we have to make very sure that the dog isn't going to take something harmful to him or steal a person's food. Because they often have a tray of food or they have some candy sitting out, and when you bring the dog up to the person, we don't want them taking their food. So leave it is very, very important. All right. What I've got in my hand is some cereal, some Cheerios. So I'm going to pretend like I'm a patient in the wheelchair. Oh, lady, can I pet your dog?
Yes.
Oh boy,
Leave it. Hi.
good. You see how he backed off when she said leave it? That was awesome. He did so good, I'm going to let him have it now, okay? We're in training, so we want to reward the dog for having left it, so I'm going to let him have it for that. Okay, very good. Good.
Boy.
And I liked the way Janie said leave it, because when you're in a hospital or nursing home, that could have been spilled medication. That if Ozzie had picked it up, it might kill him. And so we have to say leave it very strongly. We want to make sure our dog stays safe and pays attention. So this next one is really, really hard for the dogs. And that is leave it with something that's on the floor. And what we use to make it really, really hard for the dogs, because we have to make sure their leave it is perfect. We use a food bowl, and we've got hot dogs and cereal in here. So I'm going to put this on the floor, and Janie has to walk Ozzie past this bowl, say leave it, and he has to not take anything here that's in this bowl. Now I'm going to make it even harder for Janie, and super hard for Ozzie. I'm going to ask Janie to pass on one side of the bowl, and Ozzie to pass on the other side of the bowl, so that the leash is hanging over the bowl. Ozzie can go right to it. It's going to be right by him. So this is really, really hard. So I'm going to give Janie a few tips, and I also want to give Janie something that she can reward him with afterwards, because we're training this. So when we're training a leave it like this, what we want to make sure the dog understands is, when my mom says leave it, it pays off because she gives me something. If I don't leave it, I get nothing, because she's going to pull me away from it, and then I'm not going to get a treat at all. So when we're training, we want to reward the dog just after they have left it. So I'm going to have her do one training style, and then I'm going to have her do one as if she was being tested, because we cannot use treats during the test. Your dog has to respond just by what you say and any hand signals you might do. We can't reward him during the test. So the first run is going to be a training run. The second one is going to be for real.
Ozzie, sit. Boy.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Ozzie. Ozzie. No.
You keep it in.
Sit. Ozzie. Leave it. Ah.
Good, reward it.
Boy. Boy.
Ozzie loves hot dogs.
Good boy.
So Janie just rewarded it, and he left it, so now she's going to reward
Ozzie,
it.
sit.
Okay.
Leave it.
Beautiful. Good job. Okay, one thing I want you to notice that Janie did that was super, super good. She said leave it right away. She didn't wait for Ozzie to go, oh, food bowl, yum, and his head was over ready to take it. That's too late. We have to be what we call proactive. We have to pay attention to everything that's going on around us so that we can give our dogs information about what we want them to do sooner rather than later. Okay? So Janie, very good. Okay.